The following may not be suitable for all audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Suspects escape after lucrative home invasion. Police are looking for 6 men who invaded a house in Coroni, held 4 family members hostage, including a 72-year-old man and a 66-year-old woman, and escaped with $0.8 million in loot on Sunday morning. The other victims of the home invasion included a 45-year-old woman and a 33-year-old man. The incident occurred at Herrera Trace in Kelly Village, Coroni. According to a police report, at about 11 a.m. on Sunday, July 25th, the family of 4 were in the living room and kitchen areas when 6 suspects reportedly entered their home and announced the holdup. It is believed the men gained entry to the house by opening a gate at the back of the house, climbing up a flight of stairs, and entering the main house through a back door. One of the suspects reportedly pointed a firearm at the 2 younger victims and relieved the young woman of her iPhone 11 cell phone, valued at $8,500, along with a quantity of gold jewelry. The 5 other suspects then pushed all 4 victims into a guest bedroom of the house and demanded money. The suspects then proceeded to ransack the house and took approximately 380,000 TT dollars in cash, 33,300 US dollars in cash, and a quantity of gold jewelry and cell phones valued at 15,700 TT dollars. Police said the total value of items taken was approximately 880,000 TT dollars. Reports are that the suspects then escaped with the loot. The victims eventually managed to get help from their neighbors, who called the police. A party of police officers arrived and processed the scene for evidence. They also recorded statements from the victims, who are said to be highly traumatized. Suspect in John Henry Smith's demise captured. 4 days after a 41-year-old suspect was sent to the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital for an evaluation, the woman made a daring escape from the institution early on Monday morning. Her escape was short-lived, as it only lasted some 10 minutes before she was recaptured a short distance away along a track leading to the Botanical Gardens in St. Anne's. According to a police report, at about 5 a.m., staff were making their usual rounds when they realized that the woman was not in the ward where she was being kept for evaluation. Police from the Port of Spain CID and task force were notified, and an immediate search was launched. The suspect, however, was recaptured within minutes. Police received information that she was expected to be picked up by a relative. The woman is said to be back at the institution, but is now under heavy police guard. On Friday evening, the woman was taken into police custody for questioning after she was found near the body of her dead husband, John Smith, at their Catalina Courts home at Saddle Road in Marival. Following questioning, she was sent to the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital for an evaluation. Investigators said they found her to be uttering strange things, and after consultation with their legal team, the police service decided to send the woman to the St. Anne's Psychiatric Hospital for an evaluation. An autopsy is yet to be conducted on John Smith's body. 70-year-old John Smith, chairman of Maritime General and Fidelity Finance, was erased on Friday afternoon during a domestic dispute with a female relative. The police service's Victims and Witness Protection Unit is also said to be providing counseling and intervention at this time, as the ordeal was said to have been witnessed by 2 minors. According to a police report, at about 4:30 p.m. on Friday, 23rd of July, a party of officers responded to a report of a disturbance at Catalina Courts, Saddle Road in Marival. Upon their arrival, the first responders allegedly saw the suspect lying next to Smith, who appeared to be motionless. The woman reportedly made certain utterances which aroused the officers' suspicion, and they later arrested her pending further investigation. Detectives from the HBI Region 1, who took lead of the investigation, interrogated the 41-year-old suspect at the Central Police Station, Port of Spain, until the decision was made to send her for a psychiatric evaluation. It was during the interrogation that the suspect made strange utterances and the consultation made thereafter. PC Martin of the HBI Region 1 is continuing investigations. In my humble opinion, the suspect is quite cognizant of the situation because she was able to plan and carry out an escape. Therefore, why was she returned to the psychiatric hospital instead of taken to jail? Heroes, doubles vendor and neighbors. A doubles vendor and neighbors are being hailed as heroes for the role they played in trying to save the lives of 2 children from a raging fire at a house in Marival yesterday morning. 3 children, Ezekiel Burke, 17, Faith Burke, 6, and Kadeen Burke, 3, perished in the fire in the house, which had been secured by burglar-proofing and prevented their escape. However, siblings Genesia, 15, and Kissine, 13, were rescued. The doubles man said while he was relieved the 2 children were saved, he would be forever haunted by the 3 who died. Paul, a 54-year-old from Diego Martin, said he had been selling doubles in that area for over 10 years. I really don't like the publicity thing, he said, in requesting that his last name not be published. He explained, however, that in the 10 years he has been selling in that area, he and the other doubles vendors got to know the family very well. He said they often relied on the family to have their phones charged, as well as being allowed access for emergency bathroom breaks. The only payment the family wanted was doubles, he said. He recalled at 6:30 a.m., he and 2 other employees of Darren's Doubles had begun setting up their cart at a corner near Royal Bank off Saddle Road, Marival. Around 7:30 a.m., while attending to a customer, they all heard a loud boom. When I spin around, I saw the whole house on fire, he said. Something made me grab a long wheel spanner, and I just ran straight down the back where the house is, and I saw one of the boys trying to squeeze under the burglar proofing. I asked, "Where are the other children?" And he said, "In the bedroom." He said he then tried to enter the house via a kitchen door. Paul said he and others were able to breach the door, but as they did, a backdraft of flames shot out at them. The whole kitchen was on fire, he said. He said he and the other rescuers then tried accessing the house through its burglar-proofed windows. I saw a piece of pipe on the ground, and then I got a water hose from the security in Royal Bank, and then I tried wetting the boy, and then we tried to prise open the burglar-proofing with a pigfoot, but you're hearing him and the children and them screaming, he said. 2 of the bigger girls got out. We broke them out, he said. Asked if he feared for his own life, Paul replied, "All I was concerned about was them, because every day we see them, so I didn't think about my own life at all. Everything happened so fast. You really don't see the neighbors and them out there every day. But this morning, they came out and everyone who was there put a hand and tried to do something. We really tried, and I wanted to do more to save the children and them life," he said. "Right now I'm studying the mother and father because we all go down good and they lost everything," he added. He said that while still in shock, he had some time to think. Life is so precious because the way how some people live, they should realize that fighting and bickering have no place, and we have to live in more unity because a tragedy can happen to anyone, anywhere, and the person you vex with today may be the only one who can help you tomorrow, he said. Dad valiantly tries to rescue children from house fire. It's the screams I will never forget. These were the words of one man speaking on the roadway of Rookery Nook No. 1 Maraval yesterday morning near the smothering home in which 3 children had died. The victims, Ezekiel Burke, 17, Faith Burke, 6, and Kadeen Burke, 3, were trapped in an area of the house which had been secured by burglar proofing. 2 other siblings, Janicia Burke, 15, and Cassine Burke, 13, were not trapped in the house at the time and were safely removed from the scene before they could sustain any injuries or be trapped by debris, said Chief Fire Officer Arnold Bristow. The man said, "They tried to save them. Oh God, if you see how them try. Men were jumping walls to come and bring water. People in their work clothes run out of the office with fire extinguishers in hand to out the fire. All kind of things. They were able to get the 2 children out, but they were in another part of the house that was not locked up by burglar proofing, so it was easy to break in and get them out before they were hurt. Father was trying to break the door because the older boy was lying on the ground there begging for help. You could literally see him on the ground in the gallery trying to get out. That was the most heartbreaking thing I've ever seen. He was on the ground crying for help. His hands was outside the bar reaching out. I don't think I will ever forget that, and I can't imagine how his father is feeling right now, having to watch him die and not be able to do a thing to save him. I don't know how he's going to cope. I don't know how the family is going to cope. God be with all of them, said one man who only gave his name as Thomas. The father of the 3 children, Troy Burke, had to be hospitalized for first-degree burns he sustained in trying to rescue his children and was discharged yesterday. He picked up a sledgehammer and was trying to break down the burglar proofing. Even when the heat became so intense people had to move back, he remained. He was trying. Eventually, the heat and all became too much, and he had to fall back. The man tried his best to save his children, an eyewitness said. Around 7:36 a.m. yesterday, police received a report of a house on fire in the vicinity of Royal Bank in Maraval. A team of officers, led by Inspector John and Inspector Farrell and others, responded. When officers arrived, they observed a 1-story home on fire. Soon after, however, the officers heard screams. With the assistance of residents of the area, the officers attempted to gain entry to the home, but were unsuccessful. Units from the Trinidad and Tobago Fire Service, under the leadership of Deputy Chief Fire Officer Marlon Smith and FSSO Castino, arrived, and the fire officers used sledgehammers and axes to force their way into the home. During the process, Inspector Dirk John suffered injuries to his body. The fire was contained, following which the bodies of 3 children were found. Ezekiel's body was found in the gallery of the house, which was surrounded by burglar proofing. It is believed he was trying to escape when he died. In a front room, the officers found the body of Faith Burke on the ground. In another room, they found the body of 3-year-old Caden. District Medical Officer Dr. Samgam Reddy visited the scene and ordered the removal of the bodies for post-mortems. Visiting the scene were ASP Yusuf Ghaffar, ASP Walker, Inspector Suklal Singh, Sergeant Khan, Sergeant Hari Prasad, and Sergeant Silal, along with Sergeant Sicharan and Corporal Garcia from Homicide Bureau Region 1. The scene was also visited by personnel from the Fire Service Investigation Unit under the supervision of FSSO Ford and personnel from TNTEC. WPC Jack George is continuing investigations. Chief Fire Officer Bristow offered condolences to the Burke family yesterday on behalf of the fire service, saying, "This is not the kind of thing that anyone ever expects to happen, nor is it something that anyone ever wants to deal with. It is a sad thing to hear and respond to, so I can only imagine how the family is feeling and coping." He noted that the fire service had yet to determine what would have caused the fire. However, he assured that investigators will be working assiduously to make that determination. Bristow also thanked neighbors for their efforts, and he made special mention of a doubles vendor who went above and beyond the call of duty. "From our information, everyone responded. No one hesitated. I want to thank God for the assistance of the neighbors and the local doubles vendor who rendered immediate aid upon becoming aware of the fire and hearing the cries of the children in the building. They gave immediate aid. Two other siblings, Janicia Burke, 15, and Kissine Burke, were not trapped in the house at the time and were safely removed from the scene before they could sustain any injuries or become trapped in any debris. So I want to give a heartfelt thanks to those who leapt into action to remove the two other children, and despite the circumstances, did all they could to help the other three," Bristow said. Diplomatic intervention needed for Trinis, says Munilal. Opposition Oropuchi East Member of Parliament Dr. Rudal Munilal is calling on the government to help TNT travelers who can't visit certain countries due to COVID bans and due to their vaccination. He said Bangladesh has banned TNT travelers and other countries aren't accepting certain vaccines which TNT nationals have received, and is calling for regional and international diplomacy to ensure nationals can visit such countries without problems. He was speaking at last night's UNC forum. Guyana has imposed a vaccine mandate on travelers from TNT, and Canada and the European Union and other places aren't accepting people vaccinated with the Sinopharm vaccine used in mass in TNT. He noted it would be difficult for TNT travelers to enter such places. Noting TNT's economic problems, including increasing unemployment, Munilal added, "This is the only country where things so bad even Venezuelans fleeing." Munilal, who said TNT has the lowest vaccination rate regionally, called on the government to start early o'clock to source the next set of vaccinations for third booster shots, which will be needed by the public. UNC Senator Jearleen John said based on the continuing number of COVID deaths, 1,043 yesterday, the lockdown isn't working. On other political matters, Munilal called for a probe into reports about Public Utilities Minister Marvin Gonzalez and former Water and Sewage Authority WASA Chairman Dr. Lennox Seeley. The UNC's Barry Paradat called on Gonzalez to say if he met Seeley on July 6th and if Seeley refused to participate in ensuring the findings of a report commissioned by WASA be changed, and if that was a real reason, Seeley resigned. Accusing government of a don't care a damn attitude, Paradat claimed 10 children had died due to lack of life-saving services from the Children Life Fund, CLF. Over 70 children from 2016 to now have been denied CLF services, but there's money for Prados and other things. Right now, there are several children awaiting life-saving surgery from CLF. Paradath called on Health Minister Terence Dale Singh to give the number of children who died due to lack of CLF service since March 2020, when the pandemic started. Steady climb in COVID cases. A low but steady climb in COVID-19 infection cases has been recorded over the past 3 weeks. Epidemiologist Dr. Avery Hines attended yesterday's Ministry of Health's COVID-19 update and confirmed the new trend, warning that it was a cause for concern. He said there was an 8% rise in the past 3 weeks. The upward trend moved from 1% to 5% and up to 8% last week. Any upward trend in the data in the number of cases is a cause for concern. We don't want to be preemptive and say people are moving around too much too soon because movement is necessary. However, we do want to encourage every individual to make wise choices about how they move, where they move, and about whether they need to move or not, he said. He described the upward trend as a warning bell and said the population was still susceptible to the virus and should not act as if everything is back to normal. Nothing has changed with regards to what increases the risk of transmissions of COVID-19, Hines said. As we move around a little more, as we have more sectors out, both construction and the pickup and delivery of food, not just those workers going out and interacting, but the population accessing the service. We do have a considerably increased volume of movement and therefore an increased probability of interaction between individuals, and that in and of itself will drive the upward trend, he said. Hines also said that it was difficult to track how many people became infected after receiving the COVID-19 vaccine. Not everyone who has a COVID-19 positive test captured also has their vaccination status captured. Sometimes it's not captured either way, so you're not sure if it's a no, not vaccinated, or a we don't know, Hines said. One data point that does stand out, Hines said, was that no one with both jabs had contracted the virus and died from COVID-19. The latest data from the Ministry of Health stated that 4 more people have died from the virus and 109 more people have contracted the virus.